Okay, just give me a second.
This one's called Karma's Struggle. Karma. Okay.
Just give me a second.
This one's called Karma's Struggle. Karma. Okay. This one's called Karma's Struggle. Karma.
Okay, just give me a second.
Okay. This one's called Karma's Struggle. Karma. Okay. This one's called Karma's Struggle.
Okay, just give me a
Karma.
second.
Okay. This one's called Karma's Struggle. Karma. Okay. This one's called Karma's Struggle.
Okay, just give me a second.
To listen. Yeah, I just said I will just stay in here for some time. Simply create some content, and then when I feel adequately rested, I'll go outside again. But this is also mental stability training, which only few of us will ever submit themselves to. And so, right, I couldn't care less what you think of my habits. Because my habits have been carefully selected. And everyone I have met until now is just a talker, right? That just sits around being completely insecure, having no stability or foundation. And, sorry, Chris Webby is a complete idiot. I have to delete his music because I cannot follow him. And I have to stop slacking off, like, you're not saying that I'm super slacked off or something. But I always feel like, oh, I want to sleep, I want to lie down. What you want to lie down for again? Oh, being awake is so tiring. Yeah, okay, how much can you push it? How long can you push it? Well, if I'm in here, I'll fall asleep really fast. But at the moment, I feel like I can do things from in here that I could never do from out here. I don't know, man. I just feel there is some kind of a connection. And that's all. I simply will not go to that park anymore because people simply use me to make themselves feel better, because I kind of, and that's the truth, in a way I forgot who I am. I mean, I have no real self-value. I'm just saying, I have a lot of strength, I have a lot of potential, but if I'm always going out there, I'm gonna waste it on idiots that never listen and always think they know better. Well, if you know better, then you can do this without me. then you have no need for me. I simply fell for your nonsense. I don't know why sitting like this has to be so strenuous. Maybe it's because you've been raised differently, and it's the concept of sitting like this. You know, I don't think that humans in nature would have to do this all the time. Okay, Understanding Human Nature by Alfred Adler. Why is everything so annoying? I don't like doing anything. Okay, I'm just gonna do this a part of the big videos. I think that's much better. This one's called Karma's Struggle. Karma. Okay. I hate this. Why can I not just be myself? Like literally, I hate this. Why can I not just be myself? Because it's so super meaningless. Everything. I mean, this is, in a way, a cursed existence. This is like being born as Sylar. And then what do you do with it? Well, in a way, he also took abilities away from people. That should have paid better attention. I literally despise this kind of existence. I mean, there are moments where I super like, it's super nice. But I'm always just one step away of meeting my shadow. I mean, this cannot be life. I think it is. Which is why I keep going. You know, I just wish it weren't so energetic. In a way, I wish it weren't so complicated. Why does it have to be so complex? Why can I not just sit here and read books? Because as soon as I take the book, it's just like pouring into me. I don't even have to read this in order to understand it. Because I already know these things. Because stuff is just pouring out of me. Like in the world that I live in, I'm alone. Nobody gets what I'm saying. And if I try to talk to people, everything they say is just bogus. It's like, it's so outdated, their opinions. I mean, if you still worship Eminem, then you clearly fail to see that he has undergone plastic surgery and that he barely ever leaves the house. This is not a natural human being. This is a confused child hiding inside what appears to be an adult. I mean, this guy looks disgusting. I don't get it why people still worship someone like this. I really don't get it. He would never stand a chance against me. That's just what I know. And I'm not talking about, what we're talking about is not about, fist fight. This is like mental stare down. He's used his abilities, what he discovered, only for himself. Only for himself. He's completely selfish. And he never shared what he discovered. He has discovered things, but he completely kept it to himself. And people I don't know even what they liked about him any longer. Because he never did anything else. But that's what people like, right? They like broken and confused children. That's what they want to see. They want to see broken and confused children. The masses have no interest in seeing somebody like me, for instance, who managed to break through his own personal dilemma. What they want is drama stories, so they can feel better about themselves. That's what the masses want. They want drama stories, so they can feel better about themselves. I broke through to something, but I cannot tell you how to do that. I can speak about several things that happened in my own life and how I consciously observed, states of consciousness, planes of consciousness, and then started to learn to hold on to them, to keep them in my mind. This is what I do. I focus. I'm balanced. And then, I can say, okay, Chris Webby, he talks about being hyper-focused, but he needed all of these drugs to do that. If he would have been as smart as he said he was, then he would have slowly reduced whatever he was taking and learned to do it with less. And that's probably what the movie... I cannot remember, man. It's so irrelevant what movie talks about this. But there's a movie with this guy that gets the really blue eyes when he takes this stuff. Some substances, they give you like a direct connection to yourself. But it's better to get there by movement. Like if you feel cold, you can establish a connection through breath. You can establish a connection through certain movements. But what I feel like is that the same movements never work twice. You just have to learn how to focus longer. And if you cannot focus, then you have to sort out your life. And then what am I supposed to tell you about karma? I just wish I could lead a different life. But in a way, I wanted to be free. And now I'm free. And I'm alone. And nobody gets me. And as soon as I try to open certain doors for other people, they just run away. And I just have to deal with all of this stuff. And people always try to challenge me, but they cannot, because how are you supposed to get that? How are you supposed to get it? You cannot get this, because you've never done what I did. You can get it for yourself, but unless you're prepared to let go of everything and live up there or in here, and then still leave the house and visit nature, good job. But this is not something, look what happened to Stromae. What did he turn into? What the heck? You know, karma, what people call about, in talk about karma, let's just look at what the dictionary has to say about it. Maybe there's something in it. Yeah, I'd rather stand right now. I rather stand because I feel like it's better to just learn to stand more. Clear as day as ever. Right, there are things which I just don't understand why they don't work. You know, I don't want to stand. Okay? Yeah, I reject this form of existence to the very last degree. I wish there'd be something else for me. But it's just all empty words. Empty words, empty deeds. Nobody does anything. It's a completely meaningless way of living. You're just alone, you're recording stuff, but nothing is happening. Everybody's just phony, everybody's just lying. It's disgusting. And as soon as you start being honest and truthful, right, they'll just try to bullshit you into thinking that there's something wrong about that. Simply because if you start doing your sadhana, they have to realize that they were slacking off on theirs. Because everybody knows. They're just acting like they don't. No, people want you to give them stuff, but if you ask for something in return, you know they don't do it. So, complete bullshit. You know, I wrote an email to this reserve where I did my master's and Bachelor of Honors degree, this Mocha la Quena shit show for money. And they said, oh yeah, we liked, you know, something in your email, the way you phrased it. And then they asked me if they could put like a testimony on their website. I was like, yeah. And for that you can put my website there and say, hey, that's the guy, right? I never heard back of them. This is usually how it happens. They act like super nice because they feel like, oh wow, oh that guy studied here. And if you then say, hey, you know, you can link my website, you never hear of them again. That's a good way of finding out who's phony. Everyone. That's the answer. Everyone is phony. Sometimes I just stay inside to annoy whoever is trying to find. Okay, now we have two words, karma and karma yoga. Karma, in Hinduism and Buddhism, the sum of a person's actions in this and previous states of existence, viewed as deciding their fate in future existences. Good or bad luck, viewed as resulting from one's actions. Karmically, from Sanskrit, karma, action, effect, fate. Karma yoga, the discipline of selfless action as a way to perfection. There is no perfection, you know, good job. Okay, that's all we needed to hear. So karma is action, or the consequences of action. And I wish I could just read books instead of channeling them into myself. By having them in my presence, I don't get it. Why can't I just read them? Because it's as soon as I start, you know, it starts to annoy me incredibly. As soon as I start reading stuff, I just get super annoyed because I know it's useless. I don't have to read it. Because I already understand humans on a much deeper level than a book could ever teach you, right? Because it's completely, the way I deal with people is I simply react to who they are, right? Where they are right now, I simply react to that. And this is just something I've been doing already for a long time. So if you look at karma, people run around and they act like they try to project an image, but I simply learned to look through that. Everybody's like a salesman for their own bullshit. So they try to use words and Dio and all that kind of stuff, and that's like Eminem, right? Hiding his bullshit and acting like super nice, this perfumed wuss. He's simply oversensitive. I mean, send that guy barefoot hiking, please. He would not know who to be anymore. He'd just run back to his little palace, and keep smoking his junk. But that's the people that people listen to in the radio. I imagined the other day if they would play one of my songs, people would shit their pants. While driving, they just probably cause accidents, because that's, in that sense, pure chaos. I'm just saying. I mean, karma struggle. Well, karma in that sense is just a word trying to express the fact that once you realize that all actions have consequences. So let's say Naruto's position, I like talking about him because I spent a long period of my childhood watching this, and it's simply a nice way to project images onto certain topics. So let's look at this a bit closer. Wait, what day is today? Can I watch movies? I'm not super sure. Maybe I need something. Yeah. I'm just under a lot of pressure. Okay, karma. So, let's take Naruto's position. He was fighting for the leaf, right? Like a leaf ninja, the hidden leaf. He was fighting for that. And he may have had the feeling he just wanted to prove that he can manage to, use this power that he had residing in himself for the people. But everyone treated him like he was some kind of like a misfit. Yeah. I mean, I'm not the only one who's like this. There's other people I met. But what are they? That's the shamans, that's the kshatriya, that's all kinds of people. Anyone who's not the masses. Right? Anyone who sticks his head out of the pit of struggling idiots. Right? I hate this. You have no idea how much I despise the bickering masses. How much I despise that. You have no idea. Because it's their choice to be like this. You get what I'm saying, right? It's their choice to be like this. Nobody forces you to gossip. Nobody forces you to listen to the radio. Nobody forces you to do things that are basically irrelevant. You're doing this because you choose to do it. And I'm supposed to, what? Accept that, but you cannot accept me. I'm supposed to accept how you are. But if I come and say, what are you doing, man? You're walking around with your phone in your hand, and your child is looking for you, for attention. What are you doing? Put away the damn phone, leave it at home next time, and, while we're at it, do not push your child around in a buggy. I mean, this is possibly the only child you'll ever have, and you cannot even carry it. That's how weak you've become. You just bought like a wagon to push it around. You should carry it with your own strength, but you cannot even do that because you're so weak. Hello karma, you're supposed to pick up where your ancestors left off, but you don't do shit. You do not do anything. Your parents struggled for survival, and then they provided for you, and now you want to see them be carted off to some kind of like an old people home? Is that what you wanted? Like, is that the life you would like to lead? Like, are you serious? We're talking about my own siblings. Because they think that's normal. That's where thinking gets you. Because if you feel about it, you know that it's wrong. They wiped your ass. And just because you choose to be weak, because you fail to see how dealing with emotions can actually, tap into your hidden potential. No, you just relax into the material world. Yeah, I've been here, not in this room, in other rooms, and I felt like, that was when I was still smoking. I felt like I fell through. Like I was scattered all over. Tried to pull myself back together. And I managed in a way. For me, it's a lot of movement. And that's how you stay in shape. I mean, if you can sit like this, but there are boundaries, right? I mean, if I talk like this, who do they think they are? Who do they think I am? Right? I just think that, or better to say is that I feel that we could be better. We could do better. And you can do better than me. I've just figured it out for myself because there was nobody that could teach me. Nobody that I could acknowledge as a teacher. Because I found they were all too weak. And so I simply started to engage with myself because nobody could stand me. Nobody could stand what I was seeing, what I was feeling, and everything I wanted appeared to be the exact opposite of what other people thought was valuable. I simply said, hey, I already know what I'm doing. You just have to leave me alone and I'll do it. But nobody wanted to leave me alone. Everybody wanted to tell me how to do things. And in a way, yeah, that's karma. That's the consequences of early upbringing in such a society. That's the consequences of people who drink too much coffee and eat too much sugar and they run around like completely jacked up on nonsense. And then driving around in cars, they sit too much so their energy is completely blocked. And so they think, they're super powerful, but all they do is sit. And then you come along, you start getting comfortable in such a position, you're like really tough. I mean, you see how tough this is? If I would do this with you, you'd cry. Ah, that hurt. Yeah, no shit. But it doesn't hurt for me anymore. Right? And why doesn't it hurt for me anymore? Well, because I have known hardship. And I tried to deal with myself since the day I was born. And nobody let me do it. Everyone, as soon as you're like a day alone in your room, somebody comes and tries to get on your back, draw you out. Do you want food? Just leave me alone. If you're bored, start to crochet. If you're bored, start knitting. Why do you have to grow up seeing your parents sitting around watching TV? They could be hiking. They could be doing other things. They should stand around a fire and chant for hours. Get into a trance, transcend, let go of these emotions that everyone's feeling. That's the karmic struggle, consequences. Because if you keep sitting around like this, you'll end up in a wheelchair. And I simply started to, because we all orient ourselves on our surroundings to a certain degree. So if I had never seen myself in nature and in natural environments, then it would have been hard to figure out how to do this. So I learned from having observed monkeys and vervets, because they were more chilled and more balanced than any human I had met until that day. I mean, they did their thing, and there were moments where they had to respond and create distance to whatever was there. But generally, they were quite balanced. And I somehow connected with them on a much deeper level than most students, because I spent much time there. And trust me, I would rather spend time with monkeys than with humans. But in a sense, humans are the greater challenge. And sometimes I teach them a lesson by staying away. Because I know that they like me. They like my presence. But they're just disrespectful. And so I also like doing these things, just making experiences by myself. And if I get too bored, then I have to continue. Keep going, keep growing, keep recording. Make sure this ain't gonna get boring. I mean, right now I'm rendering fumes and candles. There's something a bit off on the way that I have edited this. But in a sense, I also don't really care. I mean, so people use the word karma, but they don't see it, right? They don't notice it in their own lives. I mean, the fact that I'm struggling is because I too have slacked off, right? I too have slacked off, and that is my consequences. My own weakness. is because, in a way, yeah, I waited a long time before I got serious. I only started getting serious when I realized now is a good time, so I started pushing through. What is this actually? You see, now you can make this a challenge. I see something there. I want to get to it. Now I could do it like I would normally do it, or I simply try to stay with my feet on this thing. Okay, is this possible? And then try to get to what I see there, just to look at it. Okay, this is going to be hard. Okay, I have to stay with my foot. Okay. You see, it's working. Okay. What is this? Green tea and guarana. Black tea, green tea, roasted rice. A weird kind of tea. Okay, for later. You know, sometimes I have these teas. It's not that I necessarily need it, but sometimes maybe you just would like to have a different kind of taste. Okay, now I feel like I could go elsewhere, but I think I'm just gonna stay here. And I'm just going to struggle against myself, right? And if I feel like it's getting dirty, I just have to clean again. You know? I'm just going to resist. You know, I feel like sometimes I want to hit myself. There was a couple of times where I gave into it, but now I don't want to anymore. I just rather see what's gonna happen. Sunday I'm gonna go see my father, have breakfast together. And then continue to create content. If I manage, then maybe at the end of June, I'll be done. But for that I have to push through, right? I mean, now I'm at karma struggle. So I still have quite some stuff to do. Let's see if I'm gonna make it. I mean, I don't have to go too far into the future. So you look at your life now, you realize, I don't know, somehow I don't like my life. You know, I don't like my life. I could say I even hate it. I'm constantly on the verge of collapsing. No matter how strong I feel, I'm constantly on the verge of collapsing because I'm pushing my boundaries. And so I can make it a challenge to say I'm gonna stay in here and I'm gonna figure this thing out. Okay, and maybe at some point I probably have to go and get new tea. At some point I probably have to go and do other kinds of things. Why can I not read this book? Because my eyes are looking at different planes of reality. As soon as I start trying to read, I see things on the other side. This is how my mind is working. It's like, I mean, I can see this, I can see all these shapes, but there are things I cannot see. and people made use of that. Okay, sex. I want to have sex, man. No, but I don't know how I should be able to do this. So there could be actually, but I don't want to. I am struggling against myself, and this could be something about, I don't want to read this. Do you know why? Because if I read it, then I'll be like proud of the knowledge that I've gathered. And then I can sit around and I can say things that I've read. I rather live them. I rather make my own experiences. I rather figure this out for myself. What's the point of books, right? And a lot of people don't get this. This should take a lot of time. And it's taking too much time. And I just cannot focus on this. Making art is already a huge struggle. Right? A huge struggle. I have so much potential and nobody ever let me do anything. I have so much potential, my mind is like, but nobody ever wanted me to lead anywhere. Nobody ever let me figure this out. Everywhere I was, they always thought they knew better. They always thought they knew better. Okay, let them run. Let them play a little. In the end, your consequences are gonna come, bam, smash you into the ground. You wanted it. You thought you know better. Well, that's then your choice, right? I cannot help this. Your life was clearly not child-friendly. Your life was clearly not child-friendly. And so I simply tried to eradicate it. Simply tried to eradicate all the parts in myself that were not child-friendly. Because I tried to not recreate my own broken inner child, in the sense of that, I have a child and then I recreate how I feel on the inside, in the child on the outside. I first invested a lot of time healing myself, and then I'll have children if that is, part of my life, which at the moment I think it's not. So everything is a struggle against yourself. Everything is a struggle against yourself. If you see people that record themselves sitting in front of a bookshelf, forget it, man. Turn off the video, find someone else, do it yourself. Start being active, start moving, left, right, start drawing. If you don't like drawing, start writing. And if you write with right, then teach yourself to write with left. This is an autodidact channel. This is for people who want to teach themselves, which is why I always make sure to tell you to do it your own way. We struggle, we fight. We rather walk or hike or run than to use cars or whatever. There may be times where we maybe take a train somewhere. Maybe there are times where we are being driven somewhere. But let's say 99% of the time we do it ourselves. Right? If we can choose for walking, we'll walk. Maybe there are times, maybe there's like family vacations or whatever, right? Then you do it together. But essentially, you should do it your way. You should walk, you should hike, you should do your own thing. You should be active to a certain degree in the community. I am active a lot. But if I'm active now, too early, then I cannot support myself. I have to support myself, which is why I have to push this content through. So I have 2025 in the bag. And so karma is non-judgmental. You know, it's just action. So you don't have to sit around, I have such bad karma. I don't give a crap, man. You want to recreate what your grandparents did? I mean, you can recreate certain things, but others you do not. Like, I'm not gonna recreate, right, sitting around drinking coffee and eating cake every Sunday at 4. No. You know, I may recreate a stable relationship, like my grandparents were married, you know, until somebody died. You know, that I can recreate. But I'm not gonna recreate spanking children. You know, I'm not gonna recreate sitting around watching movies all the time. Right? So now I feel like something in me is struggling, and I feel like I could now run away, or I simply let it push me, like push through me and make me stronger. That's the first time I'm probably at that point. And it's, you know, it's starting to get to the point where it's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm not sure if you know what I'm saying, but I feel like something is trying to repel me. But she's too weak. You know, it's like what I've said all along, she's just a little girl. Oh, karma struggle, that's interesting. I actually like that. No, I'm planning ahead. That's 50, but I was only at 36. Yeah, this is 38. Get me out of the house, please. But now I've already recorded karma struggle. Okay, karma. The alleged inferiority of women. Man has been wont to justify his domination not only by maintaining that his position is natural, but also that his dominance results from the inferiority of women. Yeah, this is of course a misunderstanding. Okay. I think it's just not the time to read this. Or maybe I just have to wait. Because I cannot. It's just so annoying. I'm just gonna stay here until Sunday. And then I'll just see what's gonna happen. I don't know, I have the feeling I may record a lot of content from here. Just for now. But there are certain things that I just don't want to, you know, in a way I just want to annoy people to get into moving more. And I have already recorded myself out in nature. And at the moment I'll just like to record this. Be like a beacon or something. And this is also taking responsibility as a content creator. That in a sense, yes, from here is where I'm channeling. And in a sense then, you know, nothing makes sense. It just doesn't make sense. I just know that if I go now into nature, then what am I gonna do there? It's just empty space. I mean, it's nice to go hiking, but I already have a hike lined out in July. And maybe I just have to prepare myself for that. Right? So maybe sometimes you're going hiking with someone and you just know you need to be ready. So I'm simply waiting I mean, I'm not waiting, I'm actively preparing myself, seeing to it that I can hold this insane amount of energy that is surging through me. So yeah, right about now, Funk Soul Brother, check it out now. I don't know what the song is singing about. I'm just trying to lead the life that I have seen in my visions. And that means making a lot of choices and picking up where you left off. Like, you just realized something's shit, and so you have to start figuring it out. So yeah, be grateful that there's people who have figured things out already. Like I learned from Ramdas, and I learned from Terence McKenna that psychedelics are a bad idea to cling to overly. You know, I'm not saying that you can never ever, right, do whatever you think you want to do, but then it should be in a, you know, not in the kind of let's get together, drink ayahuasca, and then hug each other. This is not, you know, this is getting away from a hugging community. This is getting away from people who tell you to sit on a chair. You know, this is getting away from being overly addicted to lots of things. This is investing time to understand movement. And for me, in a way, it's also like making a standing. You know, I can stand here. I get used to being a channel that takes a lot of time. And I invest the energy that's flowing through me into figuring out new forms of movement and to simply, you see how this started? I felt like standing was too much, and then I sat like this, and then I started walking around, and suddenly it was okay to stand like this. So sometimes it's good to just go into movement and then just try to figure this out. Cool. Okay? You get me, I get. You get me, I got you. You get me, I got you. Whatever. So yeah. AI is useless junk. And I'll be saying that for a very long time. So my life's about staying focused and then showing that there is simply no value at all in all these machines that we use. And I'll do that with a lot of pleasure. Like, you have to do your sadhana to grow as a spirit, and I'll rub that into your face for the rest of my days. You know, that I'm quite good at what I'm doing because I stopped driving around with stupid cars and making noise and disgusting air. You know, I simply started cleansing myself by sweeping the yard, by sweeping the yard, by sweeping, you know. This is like Mr. Miyagi 101. You first do this, and then you do that, right? You first do this, and then you do that, and then you have balance back in your life. And this is flipping the finger to early schooling. You know, that's the best thing this society could come up with. You know, breaking children so that they can never stand up and oppose the so-called system. System of what, man? It's just ridiculous. So I've just been listening to Arto Tunç. Arto, he's an Armenian artist. He also has a collaboration album together with Sercan or something. Tarkan, Sercan, I don't know, man. The guy from System of a Down, who stopped with System of a Down and started doing something else, which was, I believe, a good decision. Because it was turning, in a sense, into too much of a hype. And then you just say, yeah, that's done now. You know? If people really want it, you just stop. And then they can, right, move on from it. And that takes a lot of courage, right? I mean, if you're at the advanced age and you're still clinging to whatever band you started playing in, I mean, that's just dead. It's just a dead end. You know, why is Sting still singing Englishman in New York? I mean, he should have just done something else. That guy's just empty. I mean, it's really super hard. You see children and they're all so weak. And they think, we've got a house, we've got a car, you know, I'm better than you. And then they walk around and, yeah, but I see you. I don't see the car. I don't see the house. I see you, man. I don't see your clothes. I don't see your deo. I don't see your brand. No, I see you. I see right into you. And there's very few people who actually do that, because I see all your struggles, all your nonsense, all your little insecurities, all your misalignments. So sure, as long as everybody looks away, you know, the lazy eye thing, a lot of people in this world have lazy eyes. So you have to bring it together and then focus. And then you walk around and you look and you see how many imbalances people have, and you say, yeah, I see that, damn it! No, I thought I could hide it. Well, you cannot. You're sucking dry your child, man. What are you doing? What a weakling. Well, where did your energy go? Playing poker online? Are you still gambling for money? Jesus, man. You want power? Go hiking. In bare feet. You want power? Go hiking in bare feet. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? And that's getting rid of karma. By not recreating the nonsense your elders came up with. There may be some things that are useful, but generally you have to take responsibility. And that's the mission. So you do your job as good as you can, and if then a child comes out of this, then your child doesn't have to struggle against your nonsense. Because you actually learned what works. You learned what keeps you alive as a spirit. Okay, but what then if you raise children in this world without movies? Well, they'll probably stumble upon it, and then they won't know how to deal with it. Well, that's a really tough thing to do. So I think probably the best thing is to simply, well, that's a hard choice to make. Should you show them movies so they'll know how to deal with it, and then consciously talk to them about it? That it's only a fabrication, and that it can never replace reality, and that it's just an escape? Or should you just let life teach them? and just say, hey, we don't watch movies, so they know how to grow up without movies. But then if they stumble across movies, they have no way to deal with it. So I think a good thing is to simply sometimes, first of all, to teach them enough things so they know how to do it. And then to explain it to them, like you could show them a movie. Let's say you teach them how to go hiking, and then later you show them a movie about somebody who goes hiking, and then you say, do you understand the difference? And then the child will probably say by itself, I mean, I think it's better to go hiking yourself. But what you also have to understand is that not every child will feel like this, giving such an answer. Some children would rather be part of the illusion. I think early upbringing is very important. I mean, for that, Captain Fantastic, like the movie with Viggo Mortensen, is a good example. I mean, if you look at these 7 children, you know, what would they all do in the end? Well, that's then your choice, or their choice. I mean, in that sense, it's your choice. You have to not worry about, you know, fake children in movies, but about your life. What are you going to do with your life? And for that, you have to also, in a way, look at the choices you made already during your early upbringing, like the friends you had, the movies you like to watch, the music you like to listen to. I often felt drawn into darkness, and I still do. So, right, making choices, moving on, karma, predicament, the struggle. Yeah. It's the struggle against all the choices you made until now. I don't know why, I have the feeling my eyes are going like this, so I have to keep my focus like that. I have to clearly do more open eye meditations so I can keep my focus, because otherwise I'm avoiding looking at certain things. So I'm going to keep focusing both my eyes on the same thing. I don't know where this is coming from suddenly. I'd rather be like a predator than an ungulate. But I think that's also part of, and maybe I need both qualities. Okay, this is starting to get a bit tedious. I don't know, if there was something useful in this, you know, take it, otherwise leave it. Oh yeah.